What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the homie Hangout, where we help others move in excellence. As you can see, I'm sporting my brand new shirt, courtesy of Renegade Media, the tattletales. If you guys ordered one, I'm sure it'll be arriving soon, right? So just check the mail. And I actually want to talk about that because I was gonna do this video even before I found out that Renegade Media's channel has been shut down for the next 90 days by YouTube, and I'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. And so recently, Jay had put out a video talking about how Evil from Oxnard, I believe it is, right, the Emero, got taken out in Baja, California. Now, maybe 10 days ago, 10, 12 days ago, he had a video that he put up that talked about Evil and some of his activities down there with some of the cartels and whatnot. And there's another channel whose name I won't mention, but a person who is actually the first in this genre that I heard refer to themselves as a journalist, okay, which is laughable because you just pay people to tell you stories, and that's not journalism. But nonetheless, this other channel felt it appropriate after news came out that Evil had passed, that Evil got taken out, and had somebody else on there. I don't know who the guy is, but had someone else on there and insinuated that the details of Jay's video, 10, 12 days ago, not only were not necessarily accurate, but also opined of, hey, could that have contributed to Evil getting taken out? Because everybody watches YouTube. So let me point out a couple things, right? First of all, that doesn't make any sense, okay? Because while news of Evil's passing has just recently been made public through the LA Times, etc., he was actually taken out like 3 weeks ago. So he was passed away already. What happened to him happened prior to Jay putting out the video that he did talking about some of Evil's activities with the cartel. Now, Jay's track record in terms of accuracy is pretty damn spot on. And so there's no reason to think that the information was false or whatever, but to even insinuate that, right? Jay stays out of all the drama with all the channels, okay? And I think it's a big contributing factor to why his channel has grown. Yes, he tells good stories and everything else, but also you're not going to come on his channel and hear about other channels. And there's been seasons that are on YouTube, man, and people get tired of it, and I've got the message, so have a lot of others, okay? But so to insinuate something like that, not only is not journalism, but it's reckless. It's really reckless. And it's not based in fact. A little bit of research, a little bit of thought would have showed you that that's off base. But let's talk about a situation like that happening, okay? I had in the past gone after a channel, the same channel, because they aired a video, they aired an interview that an individual did who was an active norteño on the yard. And then sometime after that, that individual was killed, okay? He was removed, he lost his life, and him doing that interview was absolutely a contributing factor, okay? That's well known, it's well established. And I went kind of hard on the other channel, right? Like, hey, fool, that you contributed to that. Now in time, I kind of think back and kind of evaluating the landscape and the stories that are out there. And here's the reality, okay? People might one day be held accountable for their actions. And that's true for any of us. And so is it possible that someday somebody may watch a YouTube video about an individual and then take it upon themselves to go hold that individual accountable? I guess it's possible. I think it's pretty lame, for lack of a more eloquent term. It's pretty ridiculous to watch a YouTube video and then feel compelled to go take action on that against somebody. But I think the responsibility for that does not lay with the content creator. The responsibility that the content creator has is to make sure that the information you're putting out is accurate, right? Now, if you put out false information about somebody, fake paperwork, something like that, and that individual winds up getting harmed, then yeah, that just ethically, I'm not talking about the law or anything else, but just morally, I think that rests on the shoulder of the person that went out of their way to say false things about somebody, and then somebody foolishly acted on a YouTube video. But if what is being said is true about individuals, there's value in people realizing the scandalousness of some organizations and some groups and that kind of stuff. There's value in people seeing the hypocrisy that goes beyond sheer entertainment. You know, I don't think we should be entertained by somebody else's demise, but some of these characters do some character stuff, right? And some of the stories are entertaining. And the fact is, these individuals engage in this behavior. So, again, if one day they're held accountable for that and it's somehow traced back to a video or whatever, I personally would not put that on the shoulders of the person who did the video. And if I had to do it over again, I would not have targeted that other channel, which is not like I went out of my way and made a whole bunch of content about it, but I did make my opinion known. And if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't do that, right? I wouldn't do that because at the end of the day, individuals make their own choice. That was a little bit of a different situation because the person doing the interview was in a desperate situation. And it was known that they were in a desperate situation. And so capitalizing on somebody's desperation, knowing that it could lead to, you know, them being harmed, I think still ethically is not kosher. But again, folks need to be responsible for their own choices. I do not suggest anybody watch a YouTube video and then hold somebody accountable based on what the YouTube video said, whether it's accurate or not. I just think that's wild, Holmes. It's a crazy world we live in 2023 to think that would happen. But if it does happen, it happens. Now, is that the reason that Jay's channel got taken down off YouTube? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that video on that other channel pointing out Jay's channel, even though he didn't point him out by name, but people that watch the various channels, you know what they're talking about. And in the comments, I think some people did mention the channel by name. I don't think that was it. I think that there's some individuals who are part of some of these stories that get real upset. And while you have a constitutional right to speak facts about somebody and not be held accountable by the law, YouTube has its own policies. And a lot of times those policies aren't super clear. And a lot of times, frankly, just a lot of people don't go through the steps to complain. It's interesting to me. I've noticed over the course of the last year in particular that I feel like this genre, the prison genre, probably has the most tattletales, you know? And I don't know, you could, you know, there's a bunch of smart ass comments, right, about tattletales that have channels, you know, but it's just odd, you know, folks don't really like the truth about them being put out there. And I think that's what happened. I think there are individuals who were a part of Jay's stories and they threw a fit. And in this sensitive space that we're in, right, of, you know, you can't bully people, you can't harass people, and even telling the truth about somebody can be seen as harassment or can be seen as bullying if they don't like that you told the truth about them. It's just a fragile time, and there's a lot of channels that do a lot of content that technically can be seen the same way, myself included. And I guess just every now and then, you know, somebody pays the piper, right? And so I think that's a large part of what happened personally. I don't know anything more than what Jay knows, and he doesn't fully know. You know, you guys know, man, that's a good friend of mine. We talk daily, you know. So we'll see. I would say maybe stay tuned to some other channels in the genre to see what happens next with his. Because if you guys seen his community post, there's not a lot he can say in terms of you know, hey, maybe I'll be over here or over there, right? He's kind of limited in his scope of saying that kind of stuff according to YouTube restrictions. But other people are not, right? I'm not, other channels are not. And so I'll be happy to kind of let you guys know. And there's other forms of social media, Instagram and whatnot, where you can connect with him directly and hear from him. So stay tuned. I really don't think this is the end of, you know, Jay Hands on YouTube or telling stories. I think that would be a loss to the genre personally. And I know obviously a lot of you guys feel the same because his numbers have been climbing steadily. and there's some exciting stuff on the horizon for him and for his subscribers. So, stay tuned, right? And things will figure themselves out. We just found out this morning, so gotta give it a little bit of time. But yeah, it's a lot of telling. It's a lot of telling. It's a lot of tattling. It's a lot of hating. And what's sad is there are folks who routinely don't tell the truth. that grow and grow, right? And it seems to be those who do tell the truth, obviously, that get targeted. But that's because the truth you can't argue with, and you can't dismiss it. The truth hurts, as they say. And apparently the truth has hurt some folks to the point that they've made an issue about it with YouTube. And so we'll see where it goes, right? But again, the bigger topic, like I said, I was going to do this reaction before Jay's channel got shut down this morning, or before I'd heard of it. But the point of pointing fingers, like that was a reckless move, in particular for a journalist, for somebody that identifies as a journalist. Journalism requires a level of research. Journalism requires a level of integrity. Like there are professional parameters around what journalism is. Turning on a camera or turning on a microphone and saying whatever you want and putting it out there to people is not journalism, right? It doesn't mean it's wrong, but that's not what it is. And so if you're going to be a journalist, do your homework. Have some ethics about your stuff. And do not provide a space for people to just spout assumptions about somebody else that in reality could be very damaging and are very easy to look and see that they're false assumptions anyways, right? Like you can look. But if it does happen, and someday it will, right? Unfortunately, that's just the reality of the way the world is moving. Someday, somebody's going to be able to connect those dots, right? And again, I think it's sad. I don't encourage violence. I don't think people should make life and death decisions based on what they see on social media, for themselves or others. Like that's just not healthy in a whole host of contexts. But I also don't think content creators should be muzzled and be silenced for fear of the consequences of the truth getting out. Because the consequences of the truth not getting out is that people think this is a viable lifestyle. People look at the elders of these organizations as legends. Like, that's the consequence of the truth not getting out there. And to me, that's not an even exchange. I have kids. A lot of folks here watching this have kids. I don't want my kids growing up in an environment in which the pool of gangs is as strong as it was when I was a kid. People are going to do what they're going to do. And adults are free to make their own decisions. Everybody is. But I would hope the result of these channels, again, along with entertainment and kind of interesting stories and, whatnot, is don't turn around later when you get caught up and say nobody told you so. Right? Because people are telling you. And don't get caught up later and say, oh, man, I didn't know. Or I didn't think it would happen to me. Because if anything, what you learn from story after story on channel after channel about situation after situation is you're not going to be the exception. Nobody is the exception. It's just some people haven't paid the price yet. But it's going to happen, right? Somebody's going to come cash that check. And so, nonetheless, again, stay tuned. We'll see what happens with Renegade Media. He'll be fine. His family will be fine. If you order one of these shirts, you will get it soon. I would suggest you iron it before you take a picture of it. I did not. I just took it out of the package and threw it on and went ahead and hopped on camera. But there you go, man. Help others move to excellence. That's what homies do. Help yourself at the same time because you're worth it. Help your community because they need you. And you got to stick around for the next one.